Humanitarian agencies in northern Kenya are still struggling with the influx of asylum seekers from Ethiopia who are continuing to flee into Kenya through the Moyale border. Over 8,200 Ethiopian immigrants have crossed over into Moyale following clashes in their country, where 13 people have been killed in the last few days. The immigrants, who have been classified as refugees yet, are currently leaving with relatives, while others are being settled in a common place in Moyale. The temporary shelter and food could, however, soon run out due to the high numbers of immigrants coming in.
Today we are here at Kadakorma to see and assess the influx of people who have just come in from Ethiopia as a refugee. These people have not left their livestock behind. Some few households managed to run away with their livestock, but from the information we got from their interview, large number of animals has been left behind. The new arrivals who have just came as reported, huge volume of livestock has been eaten by predators, wild animals.
All right, and I want to bring in my colleague, Judge Maringa, who has been following up on this developing story for us. Judge, good morning. Of course, we've seen there in the pictures really some devastating scenes there, many women, children. How can you describe the situation for us? I mean, you've been able to see it and to talk to the people there. What are they saying about this?
Good morning to you, Betty. Indeed, it is a devastating situation. As of yesterday, the official number we had was 8,200. The Red Cross officials tell us at the moment it is 8,500, and the number is still increasing by the hour, by the day. Now, Betty, there are over 5 entry points where the asylum seekers who have not been classified as refugees yet are coming into the country from Ethiopia. Of course, they are fleeing the crisis that is happening even after the Ethiopian government declared a state of emergency in Ethiopia. And now, to my right, you will be able to to see the situation exactly that paints the picture of the dire situation or the humanitarian need that is really required at Moyale town. And this is just at Moyale town, Betty. Now there are about five areas, 5 more entry points where the refugees are coming in through. And these ones you can see here, Betty, are those ones who have not been able to find refuge with their relatives. There are a few who have found because coming in from Ethiopia, they were able to meet with their relatives from this side. But these ones who are here, the ones who have not been able to find any shelter yet, and they are relying on the little food and humanitarian services that the county government is trying to share among them, as well as the Red Cross Society, which has been here ever since this happened. And I'll be speaking to the Red Cross authority officials and also a representative from the county to just give us a picture of the entire situation and what is exactly happening. Thank you very much, Madam, for joining us on KTN News. Tell us your name, please.
My name is Talaso Tuta. I'm the regional manager for the Kenya Red Cross Society in the Upper Eastern region.
Now, when the asylum seekers started coming into the country, what was your first reaction? How did you react? Did you start just offering humanitarian services, or what exactly happened?
Yeah, we received this information on Saturday around 10 in the afternoon, around 3 o'clock, when there were shootings reported across the border, and immediately we had to verify this information because we've heard that the refugees or the asylum seekers who have started streaming in, and immediately we spoke with the county, the national government security at the sub-county level, and mobilized the county government officials to be able to come and establish exactly what is going on. And so we were able to establish, and people just moved randomly to various locations. The first actually contact point for the asylum seekers was here at this residence because it's an empty space. So they just come and settled, and they were coming through various other routes that were formal and informal. And so they were scattered across. Some went and lived with their relatives, integrated with relatives, friends, and well-wishers. And the number is quite elevating by the day. So initially there were about 2,000 people between Saturday night and Sunday morning. Monday, by Tuesday, up to yesterday, the number has increased to about 8,500 asylum seekers. The number that is actually coming in mainly is largely children, women, Some are pregnant, some lactating, the elderly, the sick. We haven't received any injured individuals that have arrived to this location. And so that's how we got the information and where they arrived.
Yeah, at the moment you're classifying them as asylum seekers. They have not yet been classified as refugees. Could you explain that to us?
Yeah, for us, the process of establishing whether these are refugees is a whole lot of a process that should be determined by different UN agencies, and I think led by the UNHCR and even Kenya's Department of Refugee Affairs. And so for us, we cannot declare them as refugees at the moment, because the due processes have not been subjected to the due processes of scanning and vetting and verification. That has to happen probably as soon as UNHCR and the Department of Refugee Affairs come on board. Yes.
Now we have seen, a depletion of the resources, the food, the water, they are consuming. Talk to us about, the outbreak of diseases. Have you reported any case of chronic diseases, cholera, or such diseases?
Yes, with the current situation, anything is possible anytime. It's a hazard we are stepping on. It's something about to blow up, because there are no ablution facilities. Water is not treated, despite the fact that the county government is struggling to ensure that they get water. The water immediately, it arrives with a water boozer, is put into a tank, and the community immediately start drawing it. Therefore, even if we have water treatment commodities, we cannot immediately utilize them, because the water is immediately utilized. As soon as it arrives, the tank is empty, considering the large population that is depending on it. And so there's no ablution facility, the water is not treated. The single toilet here, actually, we are about to close it down, depending with the public health officer who's been with the Red Cross team doing the outreaches, had already declared that, this camp, particularly this particular location, must be closed down immediately because of all those concerns, health concerns particularly. There were diarrhea cases that have been reported already by the team that had conducted outreaches yesterday. The single toilet is full, it's about to be closed. The place is just very extremely pathetic and inhabitable for the asylum seekers right here. Yes.
You have worked with, the Kenya Red Cross, and you've dealt with such situations. How dire or how, extreme do you think, or do you speculate that the situation will be? At the moment, you have 8,500, and, that's just an estimation going by the fact that they are coming in by the hour. How should you expect, to see the dire need or the overwhelming number go by, by the day, and how will you be able, as Red Cross, to offer your services?
Well, for us, it's overwhelming indeed, both to Kenya Red Cross and the county government particularly, who've been at the forefront in terms of providing water and the other essential services. The number is increasing by the day. The camps are not well established. There's no designated camp. These are just makeshift camps that people establish. There are no even proper entry points. It's very difficult for us even to be able to help this. So yesterday we were able to do some response in Moyale and Sololo sub-county to about 2,620 households for a average family size of about 5 per household. So a total to about 2,600 between 2,300 to 2,600, at least because they're in an open space, and the chief offered some open space that looks like can be a typical camp. And so we were able to give them the necessary, life-saving, like, tarpaulins and the non-food items. But the situation definitely is already overwhelming. It's already overwhelming. We need personnel, health personnel. We need food, most importantly. They need to even actually sink boreholes and, establish proper camp for these people to be efficiently and sufficiently and, to restore their dignity. Because as they are right now, it's terrible. It's not very pleasant. Yes, anything can happen.
Thank you so much. But just allow me to speak to the county secretary to give us within a minute, what the county is doing. Thank you so much for joining us on KTN News. Tell us your name, sir.
Yes, my name is Malicha Boru. I'm the county secretary and the head of public service for Marsabit County. Actually, since this influx came in from the border, from actually Saturday, Sunday, we traveled to this site, and in terms of support, in terms of food provision, in terms of water supply, actually the county is doing its best, and we have supplied some foodstuffs to these people to date. They are mainly entering from the border. They are based in 3 areas within Moyale sub-county. So Marre, Sesi, Butiye, and a few group in Sifa area. These people are in a temporary camp, and the place is really, the condition is unwanting. In terms of water supply is not adequate. In terms of food supply is also not adequate. More so the environment where they are in terms of sanitary facility provision is inadequate, and really the condition is unwanting.
Thank you very much, Betty. That's the county secretary. And just to show you, the Red Cross agent has told us they are sharing. Excuse me, just a little. We want to show you, Betty. If you see towards the far right down there, you can see a water tank, and that's the only tank that the asylum seekers. Could you kindly just move us for us to see just a little? That's the water tank that they are using and sharing, the over 8,500, to just, share here the asylum seekers. And that's the dire need for, for services such as water and food. And, it's a dire need, Betty, that these asylum seekers need, here in Moyale. We are following up this issue, and we'll package more stories for you as we'll head up to the other points, such as Sololo, to find out what is exactly happening there. Betty.
Thank you very much, Judge Maringa. They're just highlighting the plight of refugees coming in from Ethiopia to Moyale. Like you mentioned, we have about 8,200 people so far who've already crossed over to Kenya, and they're settling now in Moyale. And as you've seen there, a lot of pressure really on the little resources that are there, showing us a water tank, a small water tank, catering to over 8,200 people. George, if you can still hear me, of course, we're experiencing heavy rains here in Nairobi and many parts of the country. We're experiencing indeed quite a heavy downpour even right now as we speak. Can you say that's the same for Moyale? Just taking stock and taking a look at where you are right now.
But where we are right now, yesterday we did have. We did have some showers yesterday, and we are having dark clouds at the moment, and we are anticipating. We had a notification. We received a notification last night that it could be raining today. But Betty, the rain is in as much as it is a blessing, it could also be overwhelming to these asylum seekers who are don't have much of shelter here. We are actually seeing dark clouds. We had some earlier in the day, and we expect that the rains could fall any time from now, and we also had some showers yesterday, Betty.
All right, Judge Maringa, they're reporting from Moyale. Like I mentioned, he's just highlighting the plight of refugees or people coming in from Ethiopia fleeing, some discomfort and unrest there. About 8,200 have so far trooped to Moyale. You've seen children, women, the elderly just there. And of course, one of the issues that the Kenya Red Cross officials have mentioned is that there's a lot of pressure on the little resources that are there present right now. That, of course, is shelter, food, and even water, as my colleague George has just highlighted there. We just